We've had exciting developments in the fight world over the past few weeks. All the big smack talking has been over a decision victory. Now what is going to happen between Islam Makhachev and Alexander Volkanovski? These two champions are going head-to-head in the octagon, but Chael Sonnen says he wouldn't be surprised to see Islam go down. Learn everything about this by watching until the end. First off, what's going on in this fight? While there is much talk of Islam Makhachev's champion status and the serious threat he poses between the bands, a mixed martial arts analyst known as Chael Sonnen explained recently why he would not be surprised to hear Islam was defeated in the matchup. This combat is pitched for the overall UFC lightweight title championship. If he were to win, he'd become a two-weight UFC champion after previously securing the featherweight. Alex Volkanovski is often known as the Great. He's considered one of the greats and is the best pound for pound in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. But if Islam Makhachev were to win, he'd pass by him with ease in the rankings overall. This is one of the most popular fights, so why does Chael think this could go another way? So now, what does Chael Sonnen have to say about this big matchup at UFC 284 between Islam Makhachev and Alex Volkanovski? Sonnen explained that he would not see Volkanovski's victory as an upset at all because Volkanovski is ranked number 1 and Islam is ranked number 2. They are both pound for pound ranked, but that's the only list both fighters are on. The sole metric they're both bound by puts Volkanovski out ahead. Therefore, one must assume that the statistical calculation on the fight obviously puts the top-ranked fighter out ahead of the second-ranked fighter. However, it's a little more complicated than that, as much as has been made of their specific abilities. Sonnen feels that the abilities of Volkanovski as a fighter speak expressly to victory in this matchup due to his relative size and weight advantages, historically and presently, over the form factor and abilities of Islam Makhachev. One should consider that there is more to a fighter than their weight class. However, Islam is a known fighter with great bravado who has taken many championships. He is not going to be an easy contender to eliminate on the field. Regardless, it seems that Sonnen believed the expected outcome was Islam's victory. However, one could argue this is a statistical view that does not align with the broader conversation. So then what's the alternative view? Many are making the point that the division that Volkanovski competes in has a lot less heavy hitters in strong contention at the top level. This would naturally produce a series of conflicts for people to argue about who the best fighter really is. Is it about the quality of the competition? The Great is at the top of his division, but he could be a large fish in a small pond. This could be a full 5-round bout or an early KO depending on who you listen to. If the fight history is really stacked in favor of Islam due to the quality of his opponents, then it could be an easy victory for the Soviet martial arts master. These views are contended due to the fact that Volkanovski has yet to face strong new contenders in his division, such as Rodriguez and Topuria. This could be seen as a delaying tactic by a fighter nervous about negative developments in his career. The UFC is much like the rest of MMA. There's cash to be had in sponsorships for a number 1 fighter, and the more times you are number 1 as a fighter, the better. That's quite a serious contention and issue. Alright, so what do we know about the fight and lead-up? So now we have a rare champion-on-champion battle to bring in the heavy headlines as we see Makhachev pitted against Volkanovski. Both have styles similar to one another, and they are raring to get at one another. Seconds after Makhachev got the 155-pound title with a dominating win over Charles Oliveira, Volkanovski was joined by him in the cage. He had been calling for a fight with the winner and was clearly excited by the matchup he now saw with his own eyes was about to come. Volkanovski is a 4-time defending champion, and he was ready to jump up in weight class to have a go at truly making it as a 2-division champion. His abilities straddling the 2 worlds are incredible. Makhachev is ready for a battle and is happy to accept the challenge. He is going to be traveling to Volkanovski's home country for it as he tries to defend his belt for the first time. There's a new UFC 284 poster out featuring the co-main event. This displayed Josh Emmett up against Yair Rodriguez in a fight that will choose the new interim featherweight champion. Now we are faced with a battle of mainly champions. It's an exciting time, and there is much to be made of the affair, so all fight fans will want to tune in to see how the runnings get updated after this event. Who do we think will win, Makhachev or the Great? It's hard to say, but considering Islam has 24 games under him and just 1 loss, it's hard to see the champ losing. That being said, his defeat was by knockout. He wins most of his matches by submission and is an aggressive fighter overall. He debuted in M1 Global against Tengiz Kuchua and won his maiden fight by KO in the first round. Several victories by submission were accomplished on his road to the UFC. Overall, he utilizes his knowledge of Soviet-style martial arts to bring an unexpected edge to a jiu-jitsu and boxing-dominated MMA field. The invention of Sambo is a decidedly modern development in the history of combat sports. It was intended as a merger of other abilities and techniques techniques across various martial arts developed by the Red Army and the Soviet NKVD to improve hand-to-hand combat ability in servicemen. The pioneers of Sambo, Viktor Spridonov and Vasily Oshepkov, had a great breadth of experience. Oshepkov spent several years living in Japan, where he learned Judo under its founding sensei Kano Jigiro. This is an incredible amount of skill and new talents brought together with lethal intent. This is a pretty hardcore combination. Considering this was already a mixed martial art, it makes sense that a Sambo practitioner has gone so far. Sambo is also a fairly rare martial art, so counters to its particular meta combination of movesets are not easy to find. The nature of Sambo and Islam skill create many opportunities for victory, clearly, so that's a big set of points in his favor. But what about his opponent's chances? Volkanovski has a background in Greco-Roman wrestling where his training began. He gave it up for rugby and rowing, but his skills expanded over the years. He worked blue-collar jobs as a concreter and played in semi-pro rugby league. Overall, he's a well-rounded man who has great offensive potential. While his primary training was in wrestling, he has always been a man in great shape. He believes strongly that in a fight, unlike a team sport, there are no excuses. On a team, one can fight the best fight they can and still lose. You could still have had a great game. But now, in just a one-on-one fight, either you win or you lose, and you know clearly whose game was superior in that event. This focus on the singular struggle of wills is part of what gives Volkanovski his psychological edge. He also has lost only one fight, and it was also by knockout. He has 25 wins across his 26 sessions. He also has a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, a commonality across many MMA fighters. He gets most of his wins by knockout, and that speaks to his aggressive style. So then, what is the prediction? How does it go down? Overall, we think the fight is going to go down like this. They will reach round 3, and Volkanovski will have worn himself out, relentlessly hammering Islam. Islam will avoid getting downed, and even if he takes a pummeling, he's no glass jaw, and he has a powerful capacity to assault his opponents while dancing out of the way. The two will trade and try to dominate the other, but when Volkanovski reaches his weakest, it will be because his heavy assault has begun to wear him thin. He has amazing stamina, so it cannot be a round 1 knockout. Instead, it will drag on until round 3, where a serious twist will happen. Either Islam or the Great will achieve victory, functionally, in the 3rd round. Then the time will come for the 4th round. Here, one side will have managed to barely hold on. We think that's going to be the Great. Worn down by his heavy assaults earlier on, Islam will line up an opportunity to beat down his opponent. Fun fact, Volkanovski is known as the Great in reference to his Macedonian and maternal Greek heritage. Alexander the Great built off an amazing opportunity developed for him by his father, and Volkanovski's father certainly gave him a fine physique. The championship belts being traded here are quite extensive. You rarely see two divisions collide in such a way, and few are the champions in any combat sport who reign across multiple arenas. Now the time has come. Who is going to wear the ultimate UFC lightweight crown? Our lighter lads are quite skilled and combative. The skill and prowess on display are rarely seen by anyone, and this generation of fighters is really a treat for sports fans. You have to ask yourself, what will occur next in the world of sports? We have a Greco-Roman wrestler touching on ancient styles and funneling his skills through Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Then we move forward onto the fact that he's going up against a man who wields Soviet-invented mixed martial arts in the ultimate capitalist prize pool MMA arena that has seen modern synthesized martial arts blossom. Overall, the situation is incredible, so we are all going to watch with bated breath. That's all the fight night talk we have time for tonight, Octagon enjoyers. Who are you taking in this fight? Let us know in the comments. Punch out the like button and take the subscribe button by submission to pave your way to victory. Don't forget to tune in to see if we're right.